We're here in the clubhouse on Monday, February 29th. My name's Joe, and I'm with Darby Tench. Darby is the leader of our newsletter. She works with members in coordinating and producing our clubhouse form of communication. And so, welcome to the show, Darby. How are you today?
Great, Joe.
Okay, so my first question is, can you give us a little bit of a background on how you got interested in taking this job over here at the clubhouse and what your experience is and stuff like that?
Well, I started off, I came to volunteer my services as a grant writer, and that's what I thought I'd be doing. And then there was a question about whether I would mind taking over the newsletter, which has taken over me. I just love the work.
Great. And do you have any professional experience in your background in writing or creating newsletters?
Sure. First thing is I'm an English major, which has stood me in good stead all this time. And also I was a newspaper reporter right out of college and continued to write feature articles for newspapers on a freelance business for years and years. And at one point, I started submitting my fiction and my poetry to magazines. That was probably 15 years ago, and that's been very successful, too.
So can you give us just an idea of how the process works?
Well, the first thing to do for me was to solicit articles and later poetry and fiction and artwork from the members. At first, it was very difficult. People weren't that willing to open up, but later on, I found that people were coming to me to ask if they could write an article for the newsletter, which has been very gratifying.
So, in other words, the newsletter is kind of like a canvas for which to project or submit creative pieces.
Well, I think that when you mention a canvas, I think that's when I can really bring up what I've wanted to say, which is the first thing you do is when you're writing a newsletter for a new company or a new organization is you complain about the software. And you will never do another issue. And then finally, you got used to it. I've gotten used to this particular word processing program, and I'm fine with it now. After that, yes, you solicit articles and artwork, poetry, and my basic responsibility is not only soliciting these articles, but in laying out the newsletter, which is where your canvas comes in.
Okay, so can you give us just a few ideas of what is in this latest issue, the February newsletter that just came out recently?
Well, on the first page, we have a picture of former President Bill Clinton with our member and art critic for Seacoast Pathways, Jim O.C., and it's got a cute little caption. We do try to keep humor going in almost everything we do. Some of the articles, however, are very moving. There's one from Jim who wrote how I discovered my mojo, and the way he did it was through painting. That's an important message for all of us. Oh, and Morris has a fabulous poem on the fourth page.
Okay, so obviously members are using the newsletter as a creative outlet. So how do you think that helps members in their recovery?
I think the biggest help in recovery is when you can start to listen to yourself and have confidence in your own voice. And that might be why at the beginning people weren't necessarily as willing to contribute things. But the outpouring of innermost selves in the last 2 or 3 issues has just been astounding and very, very terrific.
Well, can people find copies of the newsletter on our website?
Yes, online, absolutely. On the Facebook page,
okay.
On our web page, seacoastpathways.org.
Okay.
And also there's another, where is the other one that we don't remember?
Well, I think we had talked about taking the newsletters to various places.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, that's something that is only now starting to really come to the fore, and I'm glad about it because it's doing very well.
Okay, earlier I asked you how contributing to the newsletter helps members with recovery. Now, let me ask you this question. How does working on the newsletter help members with job skills?
Oh, well, job skills, it's easy. First of all, you pretty much need to be able to handle a word processor in any kind of working environment these days. As far as I am working with one member who's interested in things like proofreading and perhaps helping with layout, and those are other great skills. Overall, I just think, again, that it's putting out the newsletter gives me a great deal of confidence that sometimes I'm lacking. And I think that's pretty true of everybody. Maybe not Rocky, but...
For those of you who don't know, Rocky is our mascot. He is a Labrador Retriever.
And the only thing that gives Rocky confidence is food.
Hey, Darby, thank you very much for sharing your insight here. This is Seacoast Pathways, a podcast, and we're located at 355 Spinney Road in the basement of the North Church Parish House. Thank you all, and have a great day.
Thank you, Joe.